What is up everyone, and welcome to another episode of F122 My Team Career Mode. We are vastly approaching the end of the season. We've only got 6 races left, including the one that we're currently at, the Japanese Grand Prix, and it is, I guess, kind of all to play for in the World Championship, although we are suffering significantly from the fact that we had a turbocharger failure in our last Grand Prix at the Italian Grand Prix, and that has allowed Leclerc to pull 27 points ahead in the championship with only 6 races to go. So we're going to need to get better results than him at pretty much every Grand Prix going forward if we want to win this championship. We got some strong races for me coming up after the next couple of races. If we can make it through Japan, this one, and the USA without losing too much ground to him, then we could be in with a chance of winning this. But realistically, we need to stay within 28 points of him by the time that those races are over, because otherwise I'm going to be in a bit of a predicament, I think. Because even on the races where I'm finishing first, quite often he's finishing second, and it's never easy. It's never a simple race. It's always something's happening. We're kind of battling for a long time. Obviously, if you haven't watched the British Grand Prix video we did a little while ago, you might not remember that we had a collision which I ended up coming off a lot worse than he did, let's say. And yeah, I basically just need to get strong results, outperform him on just about every race now, and that includes these next 2 really. Even if I don't win them, I need to be outscoring him at the very least, and if he has any issues whatsoever, I need to be there to capitalize on them. I really am very confident at this point that unless one of us goes through a dramatically poor run of form, one of us is the person who is going to win the championship, either me or him. There's kind of no one else that can do it now. We're about 100 points clear of the cars behind or so. So yeah, I really can't see a world in which there's anyone else. I was just checking there to see if there was a regulation change that had taken effect yet that we knew about, but it doesn't seem that there is. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer to see when that one is coming into effect and which departments that is going to affect as well. We come now into the race weekend proper, and we get this message from what's his name? Chris? Yeah, Chris. We get this message from Chris saying that there is going to be a regulation change, and you can see it's going to affect the chassis, the powertrain, and the durability departments, which means we have about 70 upgrades we have to cover off. And yeah, we have a fair amount of resource points to do that with, but I definitely think that there's going to be some that we're going to not be able to cover off. 70 is a lot, and we spent a lot of resource points getting to this point. We spent 3 seasons really getting to this point. I know obviously we did have the powertrain and durability regulation changes in season 2, but yeah, we either way, we have to do everything we possibly can to cover off this many upgrades and try and get back into the mix next season. I think next season is definitely going to be the one that we're going to be challenging for the Constructors' Championship, if not this season, and I want to do everything in my power to ensure that that we can do that. We cover off a lot of upgrades to begin with. I'm just covering off any zeros that we've got here. You can see we've done everything, and we still got 18 parts at risk in the durability department, 1 at risk in the chassis department, and 1 at risk in the powertrain department. So we still got about 20 to cover off as the remainder of the season is fast approaching. So yeah, it's not going to be easy. We have won that rivalry, so I will be bumping up the difficulty at some point over the course of the race weekend. But yeah, it hasn't actually shown as being won yet, despite the fact that we definitely have already won it. So yeah, we're going to be in for a difficult time in these next few races either way, especially if it rains over the course of the Japanese Grand Prix weekend. If there's one thing that is my mortal enemy in this game, it is the rain, because I can't seem to find as much pace in it. Somehow I still managed to get P5, but yeah, we're going to need to do even better than that if we want to compete with Leclerc. Obviously, it's a wet session, so we can't take too much away from it. But either way, I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle for us to get up there in this Japanese Grand Prix. You know, it's never been one of my strongest circuits, and really, I guess these next 2 races are going to determine who's going to win the championship. I think if Leclerc outperforms me, I think it's going to be him, and if I outperform him, then there is a possibility that it could be me. But you know, I need to pick up some race wins still, and I need to pick up some strong performances. We adapt these final 2 chassis and powertrain upgrades. We adapt a couple more in the durability department as well. And yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just see whether we can adapt all of them by the end of the season or not. You know, there's still a lot to do, and there's still a few races left in the season, but not too many. So it's going to be interesting to see whether it's possible or not. Now we're going to move into qualifying, and I mean, this is going to really determine what the race weekend is going to be looking like for us. Yeah, it's going to be quite tricky, I think. But if we can qualify sort of maybe top 3, I don't know, that would be the ideal scenario. Then maybe we can jump a few cars off the start or something like that. But anything lower than that, and I think we're going to be struggling quite a lot. We start on a fresh set of softs as always, and we do a 1:28.8. We're behind Sainz at the moment, so I think we're going to need to show a bit of improvement over that lap time if we want to make it through. Nonetheless, we actually are P11 by the time the session ends, but I do want to show a little bit of improvement over that if it's possible. And we improved by about 4.5 tenths on a new set of fresh softs. It's good enough for a 1:28.3 in the end, and it puts us coolly into P4. So yeah, we are more than good enough to get through to Q2, but to get through to Q3, I don't know what kind of pace we're going to need to be showing. Alonso actually was fastest that session, so that's somewhat surprising. And one thing I didn't show you actually is that Pourchaire had a DNF, which I don't really understand how that happened, but yeah, he crashed out or something in qualifying, which yeah, quite a weird thing that happened. I don't really know why. But yeah, either way, it means he's going to be starting from last, very annoyingly. I don't know what the reason for that was. There actually have been more DNFs as well in this session. I think it was Gasly in this session who had a DNF, if I remember correctly, but I can't remember whether it was after my first or second run. We go out on a used set, and it's good enough for a 1:29.3. No shot. We're going to have to improve on that one quite a lot, I think, and we do just about good enough. I think we improved by about 7 tenths, 8 tenths, something like that. As we come up to the line, it's going to be good enough for a 1:28.5. It's not quite as good as our last session, but either way, it puts us through in P7. So I'm not going to complain too much. I think if we'd have not got through to Q3, we could probably have kissed the championship goodbye then and there. Leclerc looking comfortably fastest right now, over a second faster than me, in fact. And yeah, no real shock exits. I guess Joe being out as well is a bit surprising. Both Alpines and both McLarens through, and yeah, it's just going to be me for the Jaguar side, and I think it's just Russell for the Mercedes side as well. So yeah, a few surprising exits, I guess, but nothing too major either way. Now we find ourselves on a used set of softs for our first run in Q3. It's good enough for a 1:28.4, which was actually faster than we did on the fresh softs last time out. So already we're showing real glimpses of solid pace. And now as we come round onto our final lap on a fresh set of softs, you can see I have found some serious pace. I don't know where this has come from, but yeah, we've managed to improve by what, like 7 tenths, 8 tenths, something like that as we come up to the line. I think it's going to be about 7.5 tenths by the looks of things, and that is a really strong performance. And we're going to see, is it good enough? It is pole position. I have to admit, when I was actually recording this, I was hitting my desk, whooping and hollering like a madman. I was very pleased and very surprised that I managed to do that. But not only did I manage to do that, but Leclerc has only qualified 4th. So if I can convert this pole into a race win, we can close the gap by 13 points to Leclerc behind. That would be a fantastic outcome if we could manage to do that. You know, even if he gets fastest lap, it's still 12 points that we're going to be getting over him. So I think that we are in for a really solid performance here if we can win this race or even get P2. You know, we're going to be closing the gap by a good margin. So I'm going to be pushing as hard as I can for the whole Grand Prix to make sure that I hold on to this position for all that it's worth. You can see that Pourchaire actually lost a bit of a claim there because he qualified so poorly. You know, we get that pace upgrade on the car, and how does he repay me? By going and binning it during qualifying. Not much you can do when that happens, I guess, but it's still a frustrating situation that we find ourselves in. And yeah, I hope that he can maybe recoup into the points in the race, because I mean Ferrari are going to walk away with this Constructors' Championship if we're not careful. You know, we need me and Pourchaire to be having solid results week in, week out if we want to outperform Ferrari and the Constructors. I don't know what the gap is looking like right now. I think it's about 50 points or so. So we need to start outperforming them drastically. But in any case, it is now time for us to get into the race.
Welcome along then to the magnificent Suzuka International Circuit, a stone's throw away from Issa Bay in the beautiful Japanese countryside. What surprises lie in wait for us today at the Japanese Grand Prix? We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at the unique figure-of-8 Suzuka Circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with average speeds approaching 136 miles per hour. DRS will be available, of course, into the potential passing opportunity at turn 1, although the best place for overtaking will be through 130R and into the final chicane. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Robinson lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso and Sainz, Ricciardo, Ocon, Perez and George Russell, Schwartzman, Albon, Yuki Tsunoda and Joe, Gasly, Lundgaard, Lance Stroll and Oscar Piastri, Mick Schumacher, Magnussen, Latifi and Théo Pourchaire. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And alongside me once again for coverage of today's race is none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Robinson. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
We need a good result today if we want to catch Leclerc in the Drivers' Championship.
That's a hell of a voice line. I didn't expect that they would have that kind of thing. I wonder if they have that for everything, or whether it's just Leclerc and Verstappen and certain drivers. If they have that for everyone, then goodness me. The guy who did the voice acting for Mark needs to be paid more. Pay him double, quite frankly. Anyway, Anthony Davidson said he was impressed with my consistency, which is funny because, you know, I had a DNF in the last race, but I guess I have won 4 of the last 6 races regardless. The only one that I finished that I didn't win was the which one was it, actually? The British Grand Prix, right? I don't remember anymore, man. Hungarian Grand Prix, that was the one. There we go. Yeah, the Hungarian Grand Prix, and I still think I made it onto the podium in that race, so it's pretty good. I, yeah, scatterbrained as to when my wins were. I keep forgetting that the Hungarian Grand Prix was in this season, for the simple fact that it wasn't in the previous season, I think. But anyway, here we are, and the lights come on. And the lights go out, and it's a pretty good start, I guess, all things considered, you know. But Max Verstappen on those soft compound tyres is already going to be challenging us down into turn 1. We're going to try and fight him back with everything we've got. We actually go off the track and into the gravel a tiny bit, and now we're under pressure from Norris behind. But we managed to hold him off at least. It's just Verstappen that we lose out to. We almost go into a spin there at my least favourite corner on this entire track. If you've never had a spin there, you're lying. Even the pros have had spins there in high pressure situations. So yeah, unfortunately already down to P2, and it looks like we're going to be coming under a bit of pressure here from Norris as well. Like I said, this isn't one of my fastest tracks. Just because I managed to hook together a qualifying lap here doesn't mean I'm consistently fast here. And Verstappen is also on those soft compound tyres, so he's already moving out of DRS range. The good news is that there aren't too many positions here that are overtake feasible. This one is fairly likely for someone to be able to pull off an overtake on me for the simple fact that I get poor traction out of the hairpin. And then the only other real place that I'm looking at, like, oh, I might get overtaken there, is going to be the DRS straight and the pit straight, which are one and the same thing. Because I can't really think of any other scenarios where they would be primed and ready to overtake me. But I've been wrong before, so, you know, maybe we'll see Norris challenge me into some dodgy positions at some point over the course of this race. Try and close up to Verstappen a little bit, but at the end of the day, I think he's already broken out of DRS, and that is him saying sayonara, because we are in Japan, and checking out of the Grand Prix to a comfortable victory, perhaps even more comfortable than his victory in Bahrain last weekend. I don't know what day this video is going out on. I think Friday. But yeah, either way, I think that's good enough for me to say last weekend. In any case, we move now to lap 6 because nothing really happened. Norris wasn't really challenging me that much. Neither was Leclerc, but you know, Norris is the one directly behind me. And I think we might be settling into a race that's not too dissimilar from the race that we had last year, where you know, we were just kind of biding our time and under pressure from the cars behind, but not really to the point that I was worried about anything bad happening. You know, we're blitzing through here, and you can see that there's no real position where Norris is looking like he might pose a legitimate threat to me. So yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with where we are at the moment, and just kind of settling into a rhythm in this race, and we're going to see what we can do. Lap 10 we move on to now, and you can see that Verstappen has pitted off of those soft tyres onto the medium compound tyres. Perhaps the only way that I'm going to be able to get back at him to win this race now is if he gets stuck in traffic for a long period of time, but I really just, you know, as much as we can hope, I really don't foresee that happening, quite frankly, because even if he does get stuck in traffic, he's good enough to manoeuvre his way through, especially on much fresher tyres against cars which are significantly slower than him, I'm sure. So yeah, we speed through this lap, but you know, we're still not really coming under any kind of pressure from Norris. Alonso and Ricciardo kind of falling away, so it's just kind of a train of me, Norris and Leclerc. And you know, after the last race's DNF, I've decided to quit being a Formula 1 driver and become a train conductor. But even the best trains must eventually come to their destination. And yeah, we're coming into the pits now for our tyre change onto a set of hard compound tyres to the end. Getting my words all mixed up today, you know, that train metaphor really threw me off. I wasn't expecting that I was going to do it either, quite frankly, and the fact that I pushed it as far as I did is quite frankly absurd. And I mean, yeah, perhaps an indication that I'm just filling for content right now. You can see that Verstappen comes out comfortably ahead of me still. You know, he on those medium compound tyres was able to build a gap. There wasn't really anyone in front of him that was holding him up or anything like that. And now as we come round onto lap 15 and ending lap 15 onto lap 16, you can see that Norris is in the pits, and he's going to come out of the pits, and actually he's a decent chunk ahead of me. So yeah, that didn't quite work out how I wanted it to work out. You can see that yeah, he's like over a second ahead of me. He will be on cold hard tyres to start the lap, but those are going to quickly warm up. And if his pace on the laps where he was following me is to be believed, I actually think he could have the potential to be a bit faster than me. And suddenly we might find ourselves bumped down into P3. This would not be a good position to be in, because then we'd only be regaining 3 points on Leclerc, and really I need to be regaining way more than that, you know. So yeah, find ourselves in a disappointing position right now, but perhaps we can make up this position on Norris. I don't know. We're going to have to burn quite a lot of my battery in order to be able to do it. You see how much traction he has out of the hairpin compared to me. He's made up a few tenths already, and I was burning battery pretty much the whole way as well. I'm able to gain a little bit on him towards the end of before we come to the spoon curve, but all in all, it just seems like he has the superior speed right now. I'm going to try and burn as much battery as I can to try and catch up with him, but I don't want to burn too much, because obviously if I do overtake him, I'm going to need to defend from him as well. So yeah, we're pretty fast through 130R, fortunately, and we managed to close the gap down to about 0.4 of a second. And now we're going to see if we can attack him into the DRS zone. But you can see again, once again, he has the traction just compared to me. You know, he's 0.5 ahead already. So this is going to be a real opportunistic move if we go for it. But we are gaining on him drastically. And as we go down to turn 1, we are going to go up the inside here, and we make the move stick. I don't know how or where that move came from, quite frankly, but All that matters is that we're back up into P2, and I've built a 6-second gap between my 6-point gap between myself and Leclerc now. And as we move on to lap 20 and into lap 21, you can see that I'm not really under any immediate threat from Lando Norris. So yeah, we've made that move work, and he's not really pressuring us in any particular positions right now. So yeah, it's been all right, I think. You know, we've got this position back. Even if we don't win the race, which I think looking at where Verstappen is compared to us, we need him to break down in order to get that. And that, honestly, you know, it would be okay, but we'd still only gain 10 points over Leclerc, which wouldn't be enough for us to recoup our position in this championship. And yeah, we're just kind of cruising through the rest of the race now. You can see that we're setting faster and faster laps, but Verstappen still possesses the fastest lap of the race on those medium compound tyres. And yeah, we're now on lap 24, only 3 laps to go, and still no real attack from Norris being presented to me. You know, I would show you if he even sort of came alongside me, if those arrows turned red or anything like that, but they're just not. You know, he's just not really presenting any kind of real challenge on me. I'm managing the battery perfectly, and that is allowing me to break away from him with no real hassle. So yeah, that was pretty much the story of the race. You know, there wasn't really anything else that happened. I decided I might as well try and punt for a fastest lap towards the end. You know, we still got pretty decent pace compared to our previous or our best lap so far. So I thought, you know, we'll maybe burn battery in a few more positions that we wouldn't typically burn battery in, and see if we can maybe snatch fastest lap off Verstappen. I think his fastest lap is a 1:29.6. if I remember correctly. So it's going to take a pretty big effort for us to do it. But, you know, I'm burning my battery longer and harder than I would previously. So, yeah, we're going to see what we can do. And, you know, as we come around the final few corners, our battery is pretty depleted. You know, we don't have too much left that we can use for the remainder of the lap. But as we come around the final corner, we're going to cross the line, and it's going to be a 1:29.7, which isn't quite good enough, but we do take P2. So, yeah, no fastest lap. We only increased the gap by 6 points to Leclerc, or sorry, we only closed the gap by 6 points, I should say. And yeah, in the end, just 6 points regained.
Done it then, here at Suzuka, a brilliant win on the beloved Figure of 8 circuit. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on track was: speed. I know it sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
The thing is, Crofty's voice line there isn't even really wrong, because I feel like Red Bull have kind of been playing, you know, sort of third place in this championship compared to myself and or to Jaguar and to Ferrari. Even though Red Bull supposedly have one of the fastest cars, I feel like neither of their drivers have really been in contention at any point. So yeah, perhaps a sign of things to come next season. They won't be winning anything this season, but next season, who knows?
So let's review the updated driver standings. Well, not the result our points leader would have wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Meanwhile, Alpine move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
It's honestly crazy to me that Alpine were even behind AlphaTauri in the championship before this. But yeah, we closed the gap to Leclerc to just 21 points now. We got 5 races to overturn that deficit and lead the championship. I can't remember the last time we were leading the championship. It was a long time ago. I think it was... Man, I don't even know when it was. I feel like it was maybe Miami was the last time we were leading the championship. I don't even know if we were leading it then, though. It might be Australia was the last race in which we were leading the championship. If so, that's crazy to think about. Or actually, we won in China, didn't we? So I think China would be the last time we were leading the championship potentially, because obviously I had that DNF in Imola, and Leclerc and Norris both capitalised on that quite heavily. So I don't think I was leading after Imola, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I think the last time I led this championship was China, so I might be about to pull a Sebastian Vettel 2010 here, and be barely leading the championship at any point, trying to close it down at every avenue. I got within 1 point at one time, and I might not snatch it off him till the final race. Who knows? 21 points, 5 races to overcome this deficit. We're going to need some wins. We're going to need a lot of wins, in fact. I think, even if I don't win in COTA, I need to really... I guess I can maybe settle to be P2 to Leclerc's P1, but that's going to be probably it. I'm going to need Pourchaire to get between myself and Leclerc to hopefully allow me to overturn this deficit quicker, because if Pourchaire's finishing P2 and I'm finishing P1, then maybe Leclerc will be P3, and then I'm gaining 10 points per race. That would be really helpful. But yeah, I need to do what I've shown in the past. I need to showcase just how strong my pace is in Mexico, like I have done in the past. I need to showcase just how strong my pace is in Portugal and Brazil. I should have won the Portuguese Grand Prix last season, but we don't talk about that. The Brazilian Grand Prix has always been a good one for me. Obviously, I got one of my first career wins there. I think it was my second career win. So we're going to need to be on the pace from the get-go in Brazil, and then Abu Dhabi, we're going to have to showcase some serious pace there as well. So it's not going to be easy, but if we can make it work, then we should be able to overturn this deficit. It's really going to just depend on how strong Leclerc is going to be, how strong we're going to be, and if any other drivers are going to be sort of conflating the results a little bit. Obviously Norris has been in the fight a little bit. Verstappen's been in the fight a little bit from time to time. Even Perez and Sainz have actually gotten involved a tiny bit. So, yeah, I think it's going to come down to all of the factors that I named. And I will see who prevails, I guess. Don't miss these last 5 races. That's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe. And hopefully I will see you in the next one.